So today, in the last class, what we discussed was this differential equations, and what we saw was this is basically called as constant coefficient ordinary differential equation. This one, and the reason why it is called as constant coefficient ordinary differential equation, maybe now, you know, you know this. And the important thing that we wanted to stress upon was that the solution of this differential equation, which we have here, the solution of that is basically, you can solve it by using the initial conditions that we are posing over here. So at time t is equal to 0, or time t is equal to t naught, let us say, you will be, putting some conditions on this differential equation in order to get the unique solution yt, which is given over here. And note that the time t, which is general time t, will be greater than t0, because t0 you are taking as the initial condition here. So in this way, you will solve the differential equations which are involving which we saw actually earlier. So now, to stress upon more on this differential equation, we want to convert this, or we want to solve this particular differential equation by applying some constraints on it, so that once we apply that constraints, we will be getting a simplified version of these differential equations. So the first and the second constraint that we want to apply is to check the linearity and the time invariance of these differential equations. So we want to know whether these differential equations which are given over here are linear and time invariant or not. If they are not, then how to make them, and what are the conditions that are required to make them. So in order to simplify the discussion, I will take a simple version of this differential equation which is given over here, and then we will check the linearity and time invariance of that, and from there we will generalize this discussion to this particular differential equation, which is the general differential equation. So in order to, so this I am giving you an exercise, like you solve it here and let me know whether these are linear or not, or time invariant or not, and then we will derive and see whether that is indeed true or not. So you have to check the linearity and time invariance of the following differential equation, that is dyt by dt plus a0 yt equal to b0 xt. So let me know whether this particular differential equation is time invariant and linear or not. So it's not that you will be doing it by visually inspecting it. Though we are here in the online mode, it's not easy to see your each individual derivations, but you have to prove it by first principle, instead of just observing this and writing that it's a linear and time invariant. Will not be will not give you marks also in the exam. So you have to derive, and you have to show that really it's linear and time invariant. So I'll give you few minutes to let me know, like, how will you proceed for this to check linearity and time invariance. So anyone has solved this? If anyone has solved this problem, let me know. Okay, so I guess nobody has solved it. So let me solve this thing. So first of all, we will prove the linearity of this particular system. So what we will say is, let us say we have two inputs x1t and x2t, and corresponding to that x1t and x2t, we will have the outputs y1t and y2t. So if we apply x1t, the corresponding output will be y1t. So we will have dy1t over dt plus a0 y1t equal to b0 x1t. So this is basically when you are putting an input x1, the corresponding output that you are getting is y1. Now in the second case, what you will do is you will apply x2, and the corresponding answer that you will get is y2. This is your b0 x2t. So now when you have these two, So let us see, if you apply an arbitrary signal x3t, how will it respond actually. So if you write x3t as alpha 1 x1t plus alpha 2 x2t, where alpha 1 and alpha 2 are arbitrary constants. So your alpha 1 and alpha 2 are arbitrary constants. So if the system is linear, if the system is linear, then with x3t as input signal, the solution of the above differential equation must be, so what will be the solution? Solution will be, let us say you have y3t, so it will be alpha 1 y1t plus alpha 2 y2t. So basically we are saying that if the system is linear, so if we pose that constraint, then we are saying that y3t will be this way. So if we can express our y3t as this, and then if we can express this properly, then we can say that the system is linear. So so here we are first assuming it, and then we will prove that that is indeed true. So here y3t is alpha 1 y1t plus alpha 2 y2t. We are taking it from the linearity condition that we have seen earlier. So what we will do is, if this is the solution, then it will be basically satisfying the differential equation which is basically given over here. So what you can do is, now if it is a solution, it satisfies the differential equation, then what you can do is you can write dy3t over dt plus a0y3t, which is basically the left side of the differential equation which is given above, and then you can substitute the values of the d by dt over here, which is alpha 1 y1t plus alpha 2 y2t, and then you have a0 alpha 1 y1t plus alpha 2 y2t. So once you substitute this, we can rearrange the terms now, because now what we are doing is we just substituted the values of y3 over here, which we kept it by assuming the linearity condition of this system. So now once we have this, we can rearrange the terms by collecting the terms which have alpha 1 as one of their inputs, as one of their terms. So once you collect the terms which have alpha 1 as their common term, so taking alpha 1 out, you can write like this. So this happens when you take alpha 1 out, and again you can write for alpha 2 also, that will be d by dt y2t plus a 0 a0 y2t. So it will be like this. So you have these two terms, alpha 1 and alpha 2, separately, and now you know that we have already written this particular term which is given over here as what? We have written it as alpha 1 b0 x1t, because this term which is over here is coming because of the excitation due to x1t. And similarly you can write for the other one, which is alpha 2 b0 x2t, and this x2t is coming because we have already you know uh, we are substituting this value instead of these two. So here we have these two terms, and from here what you can do, you can take b0 common, and then you will have alpha 1 x1t plus alpha 2 x2t. So this you can again write it as b0 x3t, because we started out earlier that x3t is a linear combination of the two. So now you can see, when you apply excitation x3t as the input to the system, correspondingly you will have this over here. So there is a linearity involved in this. So you can say that the differential equation that we are considering here, for this particular case, here we have this differential equation. This differential equation is indeed linear because it satisfies the linearity property which we have just shown. Now, once the linearity is done, first of all we have to ask ourselves also, there is one important point to be discussed, that though we have proved that this is linear, though we have proved that this is linear, this is indeed true, like is it really true that this particular equation, though it is showing you that it is linear, that because this particular on the left hand side differential equation is equal to the right hand side, and we are easily concluding that it is linear, but is it really true that it will be linear? So can anybody comment on this? Though we are seeing it's a linear, whether it's really true that it's linear or not, are we missing something here? Can anybody comment on this? So if you see here, this equation that we have, this is actually, similar to the first example of the RC circuit that we had done. Let me show you that. So the first example that we had done for RC thing, if you see here, let me copy this. This is the first example that we had done. So let me copy here and paste this side. So if I copy and paste this side, now you can see that both of them are indeed same, nearly same, because we have dy by dt here, then dy by dt is here also. We have y3t here, so it's yt, and then the a0 is actually 1 by r2c, and with xt, b0 is actually 1 by r1c. So here the two differential equations are same, with the substitution of a0 and b0 as 1 by rc. So you might be wondering that why I am correlating it with the circuit that we were discussing earlier, that is this one. So the important thing is the common differential equation that we are discussing on in here exactly matches with the RC circuit that we have over here. But there is a problem that I wanted to discuss, and the problem is that let us say if this capacitor is initially charged to V naught volts. So if it is initially charged, like right now, what we are assuming was that it is discharged, there is no charge on it. But if it is initially charged, then this initially charged condition will be, imposed on this particular equation that we have written for the linearity. So if you see here, this is the general equation for any time t. So if I want to write it for initial condition where the capacitor is initially charged, then what I will do is I will write it like this. I will write y3 at time t0 equal to alpha 1 y1 at time t0 plus alpha 2 at time t0. So I will write something like this, because of the initial condition situation where your capacitor is initially charged to V naught. So you, from the circuit theory point of view, you might be knowing this, that if the capacitor is initially charged with some voltage, so all the transients or all the changes that will happen on the voltage of the capacitor will start off from V0. It will not be like, it will start from 0, because capacitor is initially charged to V0. So the charging or the discharging of the capacitor will happen from V0, and it will not be from any other point. So if that is the case, so your Y3 will be also starting from V0, your Y1t will also start from V0. So it will be like, here your y1 will start with v0, your y2 will also start with v0. So the thing is, if you want to make v0 equal to alpha 1 v0 plus alpha 2 v0, so if you want to satisfy this equation which is given over here, the only way that you can do is, you can make a v0 0. So only way that you can make is this equation satisfy will be, your voltage 0 will be 0. So this is basically the initial condition that you are posing on the capacitor. That is, it should not contain any initial charges. So this is one of the important points to be noted here. That is, if you want your differential equation which is given over here, this one, if you want your differential equation which is given over here to be ex to be zero, oh sorry, to be linear, if you want this differential equation to be linear, your initial conditions which are there on the system must be relaxed. It should be zero. There should be no initial condition involved in that. So, so that is one of the key takeaways in order to make this differential equation linear. So, in order to make the differential equation linear, your initial conditions should be zero. So if the initial conditions are not zero, then your differential equation will not be linear. That is one of the key takeaways from this particular discussion. And the second thing is to check the time invariance. So in order to check the time invariance of the system, it's very easy. So what we will do is we have this dyt over dt plus a0 yt equal to b0 xt. So this is the equation. So what we are doing, we are now doing a shift in the input signal by tau. So when we do that shift of the input signal by tau, so let's say your output becomes ya. So at that time, one of the changes that you will have is your input is shifted by tau, so it will be like this. So as your input is shifted, the corresponding output yat or the corresponding differential equation is written like this. And in the second situation, what you do is you replace all the time variables by t minus tau, and at that time the corresponding differential equation will become t minus tau divided by dt minus tau plus a0 yt minus tau equal to b0 x t minus tau. So you have replaced all the time variables with t minus tau. So this you can see, because tau is a fixed quantity here, so this can be written as dt itself. So once we have that, now you can compare the equation which is given over here, this one and this one. So what you see is, even when you apply a time shift, the corresponding output also shifts simultaneously. So this proves that this particular differential equation that we are working on is time invariant. So this is one of the important key concepts in the theory of signals and systems. That is, the differential equations that you are working on, the differential equation that you are working on should be linear and time invariant. So that is one of the important things that you have to keep in mind. So if I want to summarize all this discussion which we have written over here, if I want to summarize that, so the summary can be written in this way. That is, it can be shown. So the differential equation that we are actually targeting, the differential equation that we are looking at is basically this one, which is the generalized differential equation. So this is basically a generalized one. So so once we have this, so in order to this particular equation to represent that it is a linear differential equation, what we have to do, we have to constrain the initial states, like constrain the initial conditions to 0. So what are they? That is, your y at time t0 should be 0, and your dy t derivative at time dt for t equal to t0 should be equal to 0, and like that you have to take all the derivatives, take all the derivatives at initial condition of time t equal to 0 as 0. So this is very important in order to ensure the linearity of these differential equations. Time invariance is anyway there in this, but that has to be kept into mind, because time invariance is there because these coefficients are constant. Because of that also, time invariance is coming. But since we are assuming that these coefficients are constant, so there is no point of discussion about time invariance. But for linearity, you can only ensure if your initial conditions are 0. So this is a point that has to be kept in mind. So any questions here regarding this? Okay. So if there are no questions, so now what we will do is we will see how to solve these differential equations, like what are the solutions of this particular differential equation. So let me copy this here. So this differential equation, we are trying to solve it. So in order to solve this equation, so let me write, in order to solve this equation, we will consider actually two separate components of this output signal. So the output signal that you have here, that is yt, we will consider two components of that. So the two components of that signal will be, let me write it down, so it will be yt equal to yht plus ypt. So what we are saying is, we are saying that the output can be decomposed into two, two components. So one is yht, another one is ypt. So the first term, yht is actually the solution of the homogeneous equation, is actually the solution of the homogeneous differential equation found by ignoring input signal. So what you will do is, in order to find the solution yst, which is a part of this complete solution, you have to set the input equal to 0, so that you will get yst as the solution of that. This yst solution will be obtained once you do what? Once you do this one, ak dk yt dtk equal to 0. So what you are doing in this situation is, you are actually keeping all the values of xt as 0. You are forcing your input to be 0. So this all term will go away and you are only left with the left hand side. So this is basically the solution of this differential equation will give you the solution as yst. So yst will be the solution of this particular differential equation. And it is also called as the natural response. So yst is also called as natural response of the system. So it is also called as the natural response of the system. So yst, actually you have to note it down, that yst is basically dependent upon, yst depends upon the structure of the system. The how that structure is there, like whether R and C are formed in this way, or it is formed in this way. So based on the different structure, yst solution will depend upon that, and also depends upon the initial state of the system. So this point is important, that your yst, that is the solution that you are getting, that is a part of the solution that you are getting, is basically dependent upon the structure of the system and also on the initial state of the system. By initial state of the system means, if you have some initial voltages or currents in the capacitor or the inductor, so that yst will completely depend upon that also. And the another important thing that we want to focus here is that tends yst tends to gradually disappear. It gradually disappears with time. So as the time progress, your yst will completely go away and it will become 0. It will completely go away and it will become like this. Suppose if you have some capacitor with a voltage V0 here, let us say, so the response of yst, so if you want to plot the yst response of the differential equation that we were discussing for this particular circuit, so if you want to calculate the YST of this particular circuit. So what will happen is its trend will be something like this. That is, the capacitor may do something like this, and finally it will go away like this. Finally it will become zero. So what you will observe is that YST will have a common trend where your output will become the output of the YST will become zero after some time. But it will start from V0 because the capacitor was initially charged. But if the capacitor was initially not charged and your initial conditions were zero, then at time your capacitor will start like this. But finally after that, after a small interval of time, like maybe 4 or 5 minutes or second, depending upon the phase, your output will become zero. So this YST, because its output becomes zero after a while, but it will be there for a while here. So sometimes it YST also is called as transient response of the system. It is also called as the transient response of the system. And the reason why we calling it as a transient response of the system, that is, it is remaining for a while and then it goes away. So it's a small period of time where the response of the system will be there. So this is very important to keep in mind, that YST is also called as a transient response of the system, and it is the homogeneous, it's basically the natural response of the system. It is also called as natural response of the system. So why it is called as natural response of the system? It is called as natural response of the system because you are not putting any xt into the system. You are not forcing the system to respond to this xt because your xt is 0. So if your xt is 0, still you are getting some output. That is quite surprising, that even after even when there is no input, you are getting the output. So that type of stuff is basically coming because of its natural behavior of the system, the natural response of the system. So, and note one more important thing: this situation will not be valid here. I made it, this is wrong, because what I assumed in the yellow curve is that the initial voltages are zero. So if initial voltages are zero and if you have no input, then obviously there will be no response. So this curve is not right. The yellow curve is not right. So in order to have your the YST, your initial states of the system are important. That is that your capacitor and the inductor should have initial voltages and current. Then only this particular solution will be valid. So this particular YST is called as the natural response of the system or transient response of the system. Okay, so the next one which we have over here, this one, this is another solution of this YT, and combining these two together will give you the original solution YT of this differential equation, which is on the top, this one. So this YPT, let us discuss what this YPT is. So YPT actually is called as the particular solution of the differential equation. YPT is called as the particular solution of the differential equation. Of the differential equation. Why it is called as particular solution of the differential equation? Because this solution depends upon the type of input signal that you are working on. So if your input signal is, let us say, a square signal, then this YPT will be different. If your input signal is a triangular signal, then your YPT is different. So it's like your YPT will depend upon the type of the input signal. That's why it's particular to a specific signal, though. So that's why we call it as a particular solution, YPT, and we are indexing it by YP. So this YP is particular solution of this system, and it depends upon the internal structure of the system and input to the system. So that is also important, that your YPT depends upon the type of input that you are having. So this I have already told you. So this has to be kept in mind. So now once we divide the two separately, so what we will do is we will solve individually both of them, and then what we can do is we can constrain the solutions, and once we have that solutions constrained, by adding these two answers we will get YT. So let us try to solve it and see how we can get in-depth analysis of these differential equations. How we will get the steps like how we will solve these differential equations. So in order to do that, let me take the first format of this differential equation, which is this one, because right now we are focusing on the solutions YHT first, and then we will go for YPT. So let me write this equation here. So this is the equation that you want to solve. So we want to know that what is the solution of this differential equation. So in order to do that, what we say is, let us say that the solution, we are initially guessing it. So let the solution be C e to the power st. So let us say this is the solution of this differential equation. And if you have this as one of the solutions of this differential equation, then what will happen is, if you take the derivatives, like if you take the derivatives dy by dt here, what will be the answer? It will be s c e to the power st. As you know, we have multiple derivatives involved here, where k is running from 1 to where k is running from 0 to n. So we want to see that how, if this is a solution, we want to see that multiple derivatives of that will result into what kind of equation. So if you take one derivative of this, it will be scest. If you take another derivative of this, like take the double derivative of this, then it will be s square cest. And if you keep on going like this, what will happen is, if you take the kth derivative of this differential equation, then what will happen is you will get the answer as sk c e to the power st. So this is what you will get when you do the kth differentiation of this particular thing. So now what you can do easily is, you can substitute these differential equations which you have, substitute these terms which we got. Like we took the derivative, we got this, we got this, we got this. So now what we can do is, we can substitute these terms here, and let us see what kind of results we will get. So once we substitute all these terms into the above differential equation, what we will get is k running from 0 to capital N, ak, then we will get sk e s t, and then we have c over here equal to 0. So this is the one which we will get after substituting these differential equations. So what you can do now is, you can take out the terms c e to the power st out, and you can keep this here. And the reason why we are doing it like that is because this term which we are putting outside is independent of k, so we can move it out. So if you do this, so now what will happen is, we have these two multiplications which are actually giving you a value of 0. So there can be two cases. In the first case, what we will do is, either your c e to the power st is 0. In this situation, this, if you put c e to the power st as 0, it is a non-trivial, it's a trivial solution, because your output is straight away going to 0, because what you are assuming is c e to the power st as one of the solutions of this differential equation. And if you put that equal to 0, you are not getting any interesting solutions, and this is a trivial solution that you will get. So normally what we do is, we actually do the second term equal to 0. What we say is, this is the second term which we have, we make it equal to 0. So if we make this term as 0, this is basically called as the characteristics equation of the system. So this is actually characteristic equation of the system. This is called as the characteristics equation of the system. And the value of the s obtained can be, so the whatever value that you will obtain from this, because you will be getting some values of s here. So that solutions that you will get from here will be used in forming the solution of the differential equation which we have discussed in the above here. So in the next class, what we will do is, we will discuss like how will you formulate this solution. That is, once you get this s values from here, how can you deal with that and form the solution yt using these s values which you are obtaining from here. So whatever results you will get from here, you will substitute in the value of yt, and you will get the answers. So the important point that is to be noted here is, that your this particular this particular thing is basically called as the characteristics equation of the system. So you have to solve this for getting the solution of yt out. So if you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, I will close this class today.
Sir,
Yes.
sir, how do we assume the solution is C into e raised to st?
So
Like it
the
might be different for different kind of equations.
it might be, but the thing is, if you look into the basic equation where we have this one, let me show you that. See here, if you have this type of equation, right? Like if this is zero, so what happens is you are taking dyt over rc, dyt over dt equal to 1 over rc times yt. So if you see this equation, this will be actually satisfied with an exponential function with the c power into it. So normally what happens is if you try to compare and equate the two terms with this type of solution, that will actually satisfy. So some sort of motivation is coming from there, that they take exponential signals, because some way or the other exponential signals are actually decomposed into sine and cosine, which actually go into the area of Fourier series also. So from there they have taken this motivation, that they assumed that c e to the power st will be one of the solutions of these differential equations. You can try with other ones also, but I think normally people try to be as simple as that in terms of the formulation of the answers. So so that's why they have taken this very simple term, because some way or the other this is also related to cosine and sine, where they can relate it with the to the Fourier series, Fourier transforms and all that stuff. So they try to be simple, that's it. Maybe you can find out if any other solution to this. The important thing is you have to you have to prove it that that particular solution is indeed simple and it can satisfy that equation. Okay, so any other questions here? Okay, so if there are no questions, so I'm closing this class today, and we will meet tomorrow.
Sir,
Yes.
मेरी attendance बाकी
Can you come again? Your voice was not clear.
मेरी attendance नहीं ली हुई है।
नहीं नहीं, वो मैंने ले लिया है, एंड ठीक है, इट्स ओके। तुम अभी लेट आए हो क्या?
नहीं नहीं, मेरे तो 8 में 8 बजा है।
हाँ ठीक है, तो आ गए थे तो हो गया होगा वो। ओके।